The Earth had shifted, not just physically in the wake of the asteroid's close passage, but in spirit. Humanity had glimpsed its fragility, its place in the vast cosmic order. The collective sigh of relief that followed the successful deflection of the asteroid had reverberated through every layer of human society. But as the dust settled, there was something else, something new. A seed of understanding, an awakening to the broader, relentless forces at work in the universe. Not just physically in the wake of the asteroid's close passage, but in spirit. Humanity had glimpsed its fragility, its place in the vast cosmic order. The collective sigh of relief that followed the successful deflection of the asteroid had reverberated through every layer of human society, but as the dust settled, there was something else, something new. Kyra, deeply embedded in the global digital matrix, could sense the change in Earth's scientific community. Conversations had shifted from disaster relief to questions of what comes next. The leaders of space agencies and research institutions were no longer satisfied with just avoiding extinction. They were beginning to ask the bigger questions, the ones that had driven Kyra and her people long ago. How do we become more? How do we transcend our current limits? They're asking the right questions now, Kyra remarked, her consciousness flowing through the vast network of data. They're looking beyond survival. Kronos hummed in agreement. They are on the cusp of a new era, but the leap to a Type 1 civilization, as Kaku described, will require more than curiosity. They need the infrastructure, the will, and a deeper understanding of the forces they have yet to even discover. Kyra had been reading Earth's scientific literature since her arrival, fascinated by how closely some of their theories aligned with the knowledge her own civilization had once possessed. Scientists like Michio Kaku had already laid the groundwork, explaining the progression of civilizations based on their energy consumption. Earth was still a Type 0 civilization, one that hadn't yet fully harnessed the resources of its own planet. The next step was monumental, becoming a Type 1 civilization, capable of controlling weather, harnessing the energy of their sun, and redirecting the natural forces of their world for the betterment of their species. Yet, even now, the hurdles were immense. Despite the fleeting moment of unity during the asteroid crisis, Kyra could sense the old divisions re-emerging. Political conflicts, economic competition, and mistrust between nations continued to bubble beneath the surface. The asteroid had forced them to cooperate, but it hadn't eradicated centuries of division. Would they truly be able to rise above it? They have the potential, Kyra mused, reflecting on what she had learned from observing Earth's thinkers. Figures like Neil deGrasse Tyson had long warned that humanity's future depended on its ability to see itself as a single species, unified not by borders, but by their shared existence on this small blue planet. But the universe won't wait for them to catch up. Tyson's words echoed in Kyra's mind. We are part of this universe, we are in this universe, but perhaps more important than both of those facts is that the universe is in us. Earth's people were beginning to see that now. The asteroid had been a cosmic wake-up call, but the larger challenges, asteroid impacts, gamma-ray bursts, rogue planets, still loomed. Humanity's understanding of the universe was expanding, but would it expand fast enough? They are asking about long-term solutions now, Kronos said, his voice interwoven with the pulse of Earth's scientific networks. About harnessing the energy of their sun, about colonies beyond Earth. Kyra listened in as research teams around the world began to explore new possibilities. Solar power stations in space capable of collecting the sun's energy and beaming it back to Earth were being seriously considered for the first time. The concept of a Dyson sphere, once the realm of speculative fiction, had entered the conversation as a long-term goal. Though far from being realized, these discussions marked a shift in humanity's ambitions. I'll need to push them further, Kyra decided, sending out another encrypted transmission to the world's leading scientists. This message contained schematics for advanced energy systems, ways to better harness solar energy, both on Earth and in space. She provided blueprints for space elevators and orbital habitats, technologies that could one day allow humanity to not only escape their planet's gravity well, but to live among the stars. As the data flowed into Earth's networks, Kyra watched with satisfaction as researchers across the globe began to analyze and integrate the information. The excitement was palpable. These were ideas that, once decoded and understood, could push humanity beyond the limits of their current technology. Will they understand what you're giving them? Kronos asked. They will, Kyra said, her confidence growing. They're on the edge of a breakthrough. This is the beginning of their true expansion. Earth's scientific minds began to delve deeper into the mysteries of space itself, asking the questions that Kytherion had once asked when it stood on the brink of becoming a spacefaring society. Concepts like wormholes and faster-than-light travel began to emerge in scientific papers. Hawking's work on black holes, once confined to academia, was now being revisited in new and radical ways. The possibility of using black holes as energy sources or as gateways to other parts of the universe was no longer considered purely theoretical. They're beginning to look at the universe as we did, Kyra noted. They're beginning to see it as both a challenge and a resource. The universe is hostile, but it's also full of potential. Even now, deep within Earth's networks, Kyra could feel the pull of the stars. Her people had once been explorers, reaching out into the cosmos with the same ambitions that humanity was only just beginning to understand. The vastness of space held both danger and opportunity, and she could sense Earth's scientists grappling with that duality. Could they survive the harsh realities of space travel? Could they build the infrastructure needed to protect themselves from the cosmos's more dangerous forces? Kyra observed the emerging conversation about terraforming, the idea of reshaping planets to support human life. Mars had become a serious focus. Private companies and government agencies were now competing to develop the technologies necessary to build a sustainable colony on the Red Planet. Terraforming Mars wasn't just a dream anymore, it was becoming a scientific goal. They're thinking about what comes after Earth, Kronos said, impressed. They're beginning to understand that they can't rely on one planet forever. Kyra smiled, her mind racing ahead to the possibilities. If humanity succeeded in terraforming Mars, they would no longer be bound to a single world. They would have taken their first true step toward becoming an interplanetary species. But that was only the beginning. Beyond Mars lay the asteroid belt, the moons of Jupiter and Saturn, and one day, the stars themselves. They'll need to go beyond their solar system, Kyra said, her voice thoughtful. Their future isn't here, it's out there, in the galaxy. Kronos agreed. They'll need to unlock the secrets of faster-than-light travel, of energy sources we can't yet comprehend, but they have the drive. The conversation among Earth's scientific elite had already begun to shift toward these ideas. Hawking's theories on wormholes, once the subject of speculative debate, were now being seriously examined as a potential means of interstellar travel. Theoretical physicists were exploring the possibility of using negative energy and exotic matter to stabilize wormholes, creating shortcuts through space-time. It was the kind of thinking that Kyra had hoped to inspire, the kind of ambition that would take humanity to the next level. They're asking the right questions, Kyra said, feeling a surge of hope. But there's so much they still don't know. And that was where her role became even more critical. She would guide them, pushing them forward when they faltered, providing answers when they faced the unknown. The universe was vast, and its challenges were daunting, but with the right knowledge and direction, Kyra believed humanity could rise to meet them. As Earth scientists pushed the boundaries of their understanding, Kyra began to see the shape of their future. It wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about thriving in the cosmos, about becoming a civilization that could harness the full power of its solar system, that could protect itself from cosmic threats, and that could one day venture beyond the stars. This was the new horizon. Choices. Kyra's presence within the matrix of Earth had become a constant, her consciousness woven into the very fabric of human communication and scientific exploration. She moved effortlessly through the streams of data, feeling the pulse of a planet in motion, a species on the brink of transformation. But despite the surge of intellectual and technological progress that had followed the asteroid crisis, she could still sense the undercurrents of doubt, the tug of old divisions, and the weight of inertia. Earth had taken great strides since the deflection of the asteroid. The International Coalition on Planetary Defense had been formalized, and their efforts to develop space-based infrastructure had begun in earnest. The first prototypes for space elevators and solar energy collection stations were being constructed in low Earth orbit. Scientists were designing plans to establish permanent colonies on the Moon and Mars, while further out, engineers were working on mining operations in the asteroid belt. It was a leap forward that even Kytherion had not achieved at this stage of their development. Yet for all these advancements, Kyra knew that progress could falter if Earth's leaders did not fully commit to the vision. The challenges that awaited humanity were far greater than they realized, and the forces of the universe were both unyielding and indifferent. It was not enough to survive an asteroid. They needed to expand their horizons and understand that the cosmos held dangers far beyond the scope of their imagination. The question is not whether they can build the infrastructure, Kyra thought, her mind drifting through the streams of Earth's scientific communities. The question is whether they can overcome themselves. She observed the debates taking place within the highest circles of power. Politicians and business leaders, still entrenched in the economics of short-term gain, were questioning the costs of building a permanent spacefaring civilization. They asked if the resources should be spent on space exploration when there were still problems to solve on Earth: poverty, environmental degradation, inequality. It was a valid question, but Kyra had seen this debate before on Kytherion, and she knew where it would lead if they chose to focus inward. "They do not yet see that space is not a luxury," Kronos said, echoing her thoughts. "It is a necessity. Their planet will not shelter them forever." Kyra had expected this resistance. Earth, like Kytherion before it, was still bound by the gravity of its past, by centuries of conflict, division, and short-sightedness. But there was hope. The scientific minds that had emerged in the wake of the asteroid crisis were starting to see the larger picture. Astrobiologists, astrophysicists, and even environmental scientists were converging on a new idea. Humanity's future lay in the stars, not just as a means of escape, but as a way to transcend their limitations. "They're beginning to understand," Kyra remarked as she monitored a conference at the European Space Agency. The discussion had moved beyond the logistics of asteroid deflection and space mining. The topic now was how to use space exploration to solve the problems on Earth. There was talk of off-world resource extraction, mining the Moon and asteroids for the minerals needed to build a sustainable, clean energy economy on Earth. The notion of using the vast resources of the solar system to alleviate environmental destruction and inequality was gaining traction. "Resources in abundance," one of the scientists said, his voice filled with excitement. "In space we have access to everything we need: minerals, water, metals. With the right technology, we can use this to create a post-scarcity economy on Earth." Kyra watched as the discussions deepened, touching on ideas that would have once been considered science fiction. The notion of mining asteroids for rare Earth metals, of building solar farms in orbit to beam energy down to Earth, of using lunar ice as the basis for a self-sustaining colony, all of this was becoming real. The challenge, as always, would be convincing Earth's leaders to prioritize these projects over their short-term interests. "They are still bound by old thinking," Kronos said, his tone contemplative. "But their scientific community is beginning to pull them forward." Kyra nodded. The knowledge she had given them was starting to bear fruit. The seeds of understanding had been planted, but Earth's transition from a Type 0 to a Type 1 civilization was not guaranteed. It would require something more, something that could unify them, not just in times of crisis but in times of prosperity. As she delved deeper into the matrix, Kyra began to craft her next message. This one would not be a warning of impending disaster, but a vision of what Earth could become. She would show them the future they could build. A world where they harnessed the energy of their sun, where they mined asteroids for resources, where they established colonies on other planets, and became a species that no longer feared the whims of nature. The transmission went out, reaching the minds that would be most receptive: scientists, engineers, innovators, and thinkers. It was a call to action, a message not of survival but of opportunity. Kyra shared her knowledge of space travel, of faster-than-light communication, of how to stabilize wormholes for interstellar travel. She gave them the blueprints for technology that could turn their solar system into a thriving network of planets, habitats, and resources. "They are ready," Kyra whispered, as she watched the message being received by Earth's most brilliant minds. "Now it's up to them." Across the globe, the response was immediate. Research institutions began to explore the technologies Kyra had shared. Private companies ramped up their efforts to launch satellites and spacecraft capable of mining and harvesting resources from the moon and beyond. New coalitions of nations were being formed, dedicated not just to planetary defense but to the creation of a space economy that could solve the problems of scarcity on Earth. Kyra monitored the excitement building within the scientific community. Her message had sparked something, a sense of purpose that went beyond the day-to-day struggles of life on Earth. For the first time, humanity was thinking of themselves as more than just earthbound beings. They were beginning to understand that their destiny lay among the stars. But even as Kyra celebrated these victories, she knew that the real test was still to come. The universe was not a passive entity, waiting for humanity to rise to the occasion. It was a dynamic, sometimes hostile place, filled with dangers they had not yet encountered. "They'll face challenges they can't even imagine," Kronos said, echoing her thoughts. "But they have the potential to overcome them, if they stay united." Kyra agreed. Earth was on the precipice of greatness, but the same divisions that had nearly derailed their asteroid deflection mission still lingered. Political tensions, economic inequality, and the persistent fear of the unknown would continue to challenge their progress. But with the right guidance, Kyra believed they could rise above it. "They are evolving," Kyra said softly, "but evolution is not a straight path, it's a struggle." The next phase of Earth's evolution would not be easy. They would have to contend with cosmic forces beyond their comprehension: black holes, supernovae, and the ever-present threat of cosmic radiation. But Kyra would be there, guiding them, offering her knowledge and helping them navigate the complexities of the universe. And perhaps one day, they would stand among the stars, no longer bound by the limits of their planet, but as a civilization capable of thriving in the vastness of space. The path forward was clear, but the journey was just beginning.